Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, with so many people job hopping these days, it really pays for CEOs to up their benefits game. We'll be talking to a leading national expert next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, we have a great economy as far as employment is concerned. Pretty much anybody who wants a job has a job. And what that means to owners and CEOs of companies is they really have to attract the best and the brightest and keep them on board. And one of the ways you do that is to have great employee benefits. To talk about that today, Michael Battaglia, he's the owner of InsureYouToo. Thanks for coming on the show.
Well, thanks for having me, Jeff.
Awesome. How long have you been in employee benefits?
I started in the space around 2009 in the individual market, then worked my way into doing the group market. So I've been around it a bit.
And tell me what you've seen in the last decade, because I remember 2009 was a rough time, high unemployment. Are you seeing employers paying more attention to employee benefits than they were a decade or so ago?
Yeah, it's an interesting trend. Of course, before there wasn't the ACA, there wasn't all these rules, so that was pretty disruptive to the market, to the agents and everything. So companies have evolved as that has, and most companies in their smaller market will tend to think that it's a checkbox. I check the box and I have employee benefits, so now everybody's happy and I can go hire and everybody's going to be there. And the trend is the new employees are coming to the market. They're focused on a lot more than that. They're looking at culture. They're looking at how a company handles themselves. And part of that is the integration of those benefits into that culture into a way that can make those employees want to stick around and stay.
We're going to put your website up and scroll down the website, because one of the things you told me off camera that was impressive is that you really kind of specialize in small to medium-sized businesses. Is that right?
That's correct. We specialize in under 50 groups. And
some of the large benefit companies would just ignore a small company?
Yeah, I mean, they're focused on the above 50, the 100 people. They want, those much largers, because there's an economy of scale there. For us, we really like helping those companies act in such a way that they can compete with the larger companies, and that's just kind of our heart and soul.
Yeah, and you and I were talking just before the show, and I asked you about your why. Would you share that with the audience?
Yeah, I mean, when I first got in the benefits business, one of my early clients was pregnant with a child that was going to need open heart surgery the day after it was born. And so we had to figure out how to get that child some benefits and make sure that was taken care of. And I learned that it was really important what I'm doing. And as that child was born, she had the open heart surgery. As time went on, the ACA came along, and the next thing you knew, the only policies that were available for them is they didn't cover cooks. And if the child's at Cook's, you can't go and say, oh, let me just go find a new hospital, maybe, because that's their care, and they actually need a second surgery. So we had to go through the whole insurance market and figure out a strategy in which they could get care that their child could still have that surgery, stay with her doctor, stay with her hospital, because that was really important. And so that's kind of my passion. That's why I like to work with the smaller companies, because I know a lot of the employees. I know what's going on in their lives, and we find ways to make sure that they get what they need.
Outstanding. Well, tell us what it's like to engage you. What's the process look like? You sit down and tailor a plan to each company.
Yeah, we sit down and the first thing we ask a client is why. Why do you have benefits? And most of the times they don't know, or they come up with the standard answer as well. It's to retain employees. And I go, well, that's great, but let's understand some things. If I'm trying to hire people away from Apple, I have a whole different program than if I want to hire college graduates. Am I going to try to take employees from a company that has one of my competitors? Then I need to match those type of benefits. So we go through a process to understand what they're doing and set goals and strategies to make them achieve that.
And then how often do you review the plan with the client?
Well, every year you're always going to do an annual review. We try to talk to them. We're very service oriented, so we work with them almost daily. Anytime they have a new employee, anytime they have a question, we have the employees call us directly. So we're interacting with the client all year long.
And as you look into the future, do you see employee benefits becoming more important to the employee every year going forward?
Yeah, the employees are getting a lot more wise as the marketplace changes, healthcare becomes more costly. As these things rise and they run into needs more, we're seeing that they're asking a lot more questions about those benefits. And in companies, we try to make sure that they have got a wide variety of options for their employees. Because if you've got this, I offer a plan. One of the problems we see that companies make a lot of times is the owner goes, well, I don't like an HMO. I don't like that plan. I want to offer the one I like. And it's like, well, not all your employees are you, so we need to have variety. And so those types of things are becoming more and more important in keeping the employees around.
And I imagine you probably have had clients since the very beginning that have stuck with you through ups and downs and COVID. And
I have, probably all my clients. I mean, I'd say that if I lose a client, it's because they merged or they went out of business. I probably have a retention rate of about 95% or something.
That's amazing. Is it just because of your attention to detail and customer service?
Exactly. And we care so much about them. We care about their employees. We take the burden of running the plans off their plate. The HR people in those smaller companies, they're running ragged. And it's like the last thing they don't know about benefits, right? And their employees ask them. So we always take that type of burden off of them so that they can do their business, and we take care of that side for them.
Sure. In the little time we have left, talk to the employer who's been, playing it cheap with benefits. What do you want to say to that person?
Yeah, if you don't know what your end goal is, if you don't know what you're trying to accomplish, you'll end up with a bunch of benefits that don't do anything and just cost a lot of money, right? That's at your it's like your second biggest expense. So you need to have as much strategy as that as you have with everything else, and understand what that goal is, and make a match.
Outstanding. You've been a great guest. We're going to end with the website, which is InsureYouToo.com. The great Michael Battaglia. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.